here about to do a twin flame reading. Now, this one is the romantic reading. This is for the people who are, well, it's for anyone who wants to find out sort of what's going on with the energies in the connections, and, you know, what's going on with your separated twin, that kind of thing. So if you resonate with it, great, give me a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can get more readings from me. If you want a more in-depth reading, please, I will leave a link below, and you can come to my Facebook page and speak to me about getting a personal reading, or a healing, or a counselling session. Now, I do work with anyone. I don't just keep it for the twin flames, but being that that's been my path, the high vibrational love path, since 1999, it's kind of my specialty. So yeah, there you go. So this is stage one. The reason that I call it stage one is because through my own experience and through talking to lots of other people who have either become, you know, come to union or transcended the twin flame paradigm, I've come to sort of realize that there is three main stages to this kind of it's an ascension path, basically, to this spiritual path of the twin flame. So stage one is the romantic stage. That's when you meet someone and you have this really overwhelming, intense connection, and you are drawn to them like a magnet, and you get activated into heart-centered consciousness, which is amazing, but it's also very overwhelming. And you have to sort of learn this whole new language of, you know, being heart-centered and using your heart center to, what's the word? To process your emotions and to process your connections, because usually would be from, it would be in your solar plexus chakra that you're doing most of these things. But when you move up to heart-centered consciousness, it all changes, and it's like learning a new language. Not to mention that you get your psychic abilities that may or may not have been, you know, latent, or you weren't aware of until that time. Some people are intuitive in that all their lives, but other people, it just gets thrown on them. There's Kundalini awakening some people experience, or bubble love, which is the one that I like. You know, spiritual mania, basically. You feel really high. All of these things, and because it's a very overwhelming thing, we have this one person that we focus on to learn all of this stuff. And then at some point, you start to realize, especially if you're in separation, or, you know, the person that you thought was your twin, or the person that activated you, has run away, or disappeared, or withdrawn, you start to realize that you really need to work on yourself, because how it really works with everything in this life is what you think, what you hold dear in your energy field, is what actually turns into your reality. So at some point you realize this, and you start turning all of that love back to yourself, and healing yourself, and learning how to love all of yourself, and integrate your shadow, and let go of all of this, you know, conditioning and these ideas that we've been given throughout our lives, you know, indoctrinated with from the minute we're born, about who we are and how we should behave, and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and what love is and what love isn't, what relationships, you know, what we should expect, and all of this sort of stuff. And a lot of that stuff we do automatically, and we don't question it. But when you get to this, like, stage two, where you're self-loving and healing yourself, you start to realize how much of it really just is done by rote, and it's not thought about, and it might not even be good for you. So yeah, you learn all of that stuff, and then hopefully you get to stage three, which is sort of like transcendence in a way. It's not that you haven't stopped healing, because healing is an ongoing process, and there'll always be more, whether it be personal, or, you know, from your family, or ancestral, or collective. There's always going to be something that needs to be healed. But when you reach a certain level of consciousness from healing, that's what I call stage three, and that's when you are in unity consciousness. You recognize union and, you know, the interconnectedness of everything. You're a being of unconditional love, and you're using your abilities and skills and all that sort of stuff to help people, or to, to do your mission, which is probably a humanitarian type thing anyway, because most missions are, or, reading and healing and helping in the spiritual community as well. Okay, so this is a stage 1 reading. I also do stage 2 readings, which are empowerment readings and healing readings. So I might do one of them. I'm not sure how I'll feel about that later on. I'll see how I go this week. Things are pretty hectic for me at the moment, so yeah, we'll just see how I go. This is the one that everybody loves anyway, because you get to find out what's going on. Right, so straight to the cards now. The first card we have, this is the underlying energy. This is the energy that we are working with this week, and this is kind of what is bringing all of this other stuff to us that we're going to see in the cards. So we've got move. For you guys who are watching, we've got love abounds, we've got helpless and hopeless, and we've got rebuild. For our twins or divine counterparts, for the ones who are missing and we want to find out about, darkest fears, blossom, and heal. The guidance card for both of you is Master. And another guidance card for both of you is Nurture. I'm going to leave the outcome card until the end, so we've got a bit of a surprise going on. But wow, really big energy themes here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 major arcana cards. So that's like lots of big energy, lots of big themes this week. So really work on staying grounded, really work on, treating yourself properly, giving yourself that, that self-care, that extra sleep, the good nutrition and all of that sort of stuff. Going for a walk along the beach, sticking your feet in some water, having a salt bath, whatever you do to ground and kind of, chill yourself out. Make sure you do lots of it, because these energies are quite intense. So, the move card, the underlying energy. This is all about moving. This is action. It's taking action. It's making a move. It's lots of fast moving energy. So it may not have hit you yet, but when it does, it's like full steam ahead kind of thing. Traditional tarot, this card would be the Chariot. So that's the energy that we have this week. And when I say this week, it doesn't really matter if you're watching this in a couple of weeks and it still resonates, or a couple of months or a couple of years. If it resonates with you and your situation, then it's still relevant for you. That's just the way it works, We're in a multi-dimensional universe, so you might not be in the same place as I am right now, or the collective that I'm reading for right now, but it might resonate with you at some other time. So let me see. Let's see what the story is here. There's an offer of love. Okay, this is an offer of love. This is lots of love around. There's lots of love to tap into, but it can also be an offer. Like an offer of a relationship, or what's the word I'm looking for? Gee, I can't even think of it. An offer of love. It could be like an offer for a commitment. That's what I'm trying to think of, like to take things to the next level in a relationship. It could be, a marriage offer, a proposal. It can also warn about getting pregnant. So if you don't want to get pregnant and you're doing things where you might be able to get pregnant, you might want to take extra precautions at this time. So there was an offer of love. I feel like maybe what happened was, and this is just, this is just going by the cards and my energy, is that the absent twin came forward and, kind of it made it look like they were coming back to you, or, they made an offer, or they might make an offer. But what's going to happen with this offer is it's going to bring up a lot of stuff. From what I can see, look, they've got darkest fears come up. You've got helpless and hopeless come up. Now, I mean, this might, helpless and hopeless might not resonate for you, but the other card that they've got might. So, you know, it's all interchangeable, and whatever works for you, whatever resonates with you, that's your message from this reading. So I see an offer of love, but I see that you might have to make a choice. Now, making a choice can create this kind of existential earthquake. So this is like the Tower. It can mean divine intervention. It can mean love at first sight. It can be, you know, a bit of a catalyst energy, like something comes in and blows everything up kind of stuff, and then you have to rebuild, right? With this card, what I sense is like there's two paths, right? You can go by this path or you can go by this path, but these are the paths that everybody else has walked. This is like taking guidance from people who were just telling you the same shit every time that they tell to everybody else, sticking to the rules. That's what I'm feeling. It's like, if you take either of those paths, make sure that they're the right one for you. Your choice, your guidance might be to forge your own path through the desert to get to that light at the end of the tunnel, rather than go on, you know, the well-worn paths that other people have gone on, because we're all, you know, individuals, and our journeys are all individual. Not all advice that you will hear or have been or will be given as a twin flame in the twin flame community will be relevant to you, and it's up to you to look within your heart and feel whether what you're being told actually rings true. And that can be really hard when you are, you know, when you're really confused already. It's hard to find your own guidance, and I guess that's why we go looking for, you know, help and support in groups and from readers and things like that. What you really want to do, though, is make sure that you're not following advice from someone else just because they tell you to. A lot of the time, people aren't objective about what they're saying, and they might not even realize that they're not being objective, but they just, they give advice and they give readings and things like that to you or to people based on their own experience, but not just based on their own experience, but from their own point of view, like what they would do, how it would make them feel, that kind of thing. And you want to be really careful of that, because it might not be right for you. I've learnt this, I've seen it in action, and I've actually had that lesson come to me recently. So I'm making a thing of it because I want everybody to know that you need to walk your own path, and you need to really learn how to listen to your own heart and take your own guidance here. And don't go doing things just because somebody said, or just because, you know, that's the twin flame rule or whatever. Make your own rules, make your own path. If that's you know, if that sits with you, and going the way that everybody else doesn't. So this choice is going to lead to somehow you rebuilding things, okay? So an offer of love will create choices. You will have to make choices here. You will, and in making that choice, you may find that certain things will crumble. You know, stuff that doesn't serve you anymore will fall away, and you will be left to rebuild. Or by making that choice, you're activating divine intervention, which is also really cool, because it means that you're on the right path. If things start falling into place, and you know, stuff starts happening that you wanted to happen for ages, but you kind of forgot about it, you put it on the back burner, it means that you're in alignment. It means that you've gone the right way, and it means that you've activated this kind of like co-creation thing and brought your desires to life. So that's you guys. And then these guys down here, which I will call the absent twin, but if this resonates with you, that's fine too, you know. Who knows? Really. So, Darkest Fears they've got, and then they've got Blossom, and then they've got Heal. Okay, so what happens a lot of the time is when, you know, we come together in these really intense kind of situations where we touch each other's soul, especially when there's like Kundalini activations, or there's the bubble love thing, you know, the spiritual mania, the spiritual happiness. I don't like to call it mania, but the happiness that comes, you know, you floating, it's great. But what that actually does is shines a really bright light on all of the dark shit that's in there that needs to come out, and you know, it makes you face your darkest fears. But when you face your darkest fears, and this is what's happening here, they faced their darkest fears, okay? And in facing their darkest fears, they found hope. The hope of these, you know, this card always makes me think of nature. So the best way that I can describe it is like when there's a bushfire in Australia, that kind of activates these little seeds. There's certain plants that we have here that won't grow until there's been a bushfire. And you know, this facing this darkest fears is kind of like the bushfire came through and everything was devastated, but these special seeds that are still there, and they've been activated, are starting to grow. So that's what's going on for them. They found these little seedlings of hope, and you know, they're using them to, they're bringing that energy back, of hope, of growing things and bringing things to fruition, which maybe they weren't, you know, into for a while because they had other stuff on their mind, you know. And it's creating this really beautiful healing energy. So that's why we're moving forward. So because of this blossoming, of this bringing things to fruition, it's bringing this beautiful healing energy, and it's asking, like, you guys have this rebuild, so you can use this unconditional love that we all have within us and we all have available to us, but we sometimes can't access it because we allow, you know, fears and doubts and that sort of thing to get in the way. You can use that, and they can use this. And this is the guidance card for the both of you. Master. So your rebuilding with love, or this divine intervention that's come along, has brought you back to where you should be, which is mastering your heart. Your heart, mastering your heart, and they're healing, which means that they're mastering their heart as well. And their heart, that the whole deal with mastering the heart and this card, this heart's in a cage, right? And hearts aren't meant to be caged, they're meant to be free. Like, love is not meant to be restrictive. Love is meant to make you feel free. And if you can't love someone and trust them enough that you're not, you know, pulling on them and grabbing on them and going, hey, why aren't you paying attention to me every 5 minutes? Because of your doubts and your fears and your insecurities, then that's not really love, right? That's codependency, and it's somewhat different to what true love really is. So mastering your heart is actually asking you to develop independence, to develop reliance on yourself, to develop detachment, and not detachment where you don't care, but detachment that you are not so invested in what someone else is doing that it wipes you out when things don't go your way or the way that you wanted them to go. Or, you know, we all have these expectations, right? We're not meant to have them, you know, expectations of outcome. But I find with a lot of people who are just coming into the twin flame arena, that the expectations of, you know, the whole twin flame belief system create so much more trouble than if you hadn't actually had those expectations in the first place. It's a very strange oxymoronic kind of thing. So what we really want to do is create union within ourselves, okay? And that's part of mastering your heart. That's part of mastering heart-centered consciousness. And it's, these cards are telling us that the energies are right for us, for those of you who are on that path and in that place, that this is the time that you can do this. This is the energy. You have the energy to move forward with mastering your heart and becoming an independent person, becoming a person who is self-reliant and self-loving, and that makes you so much more of an attractive person to other people as well. When you love yourself, and when you what's the word? Well, you set the standards of how people treat you by the way that you treat yourself, okay? So if you're treating yourself badly and denying yourself things, and, you know, not doing the things that you know you're meant to do, but you just can't be bothered or whatever, then that's the way other people are going to treat you. Not because they see you doing that, but because that's what you resonate out to them. That's what your vibration tells them to do. And so we want to heal from that. We want to master that. We want to get rid of these doubts, these fears, and all of that sort of stuff. And this is the energy that we have. And it's saying, look, here's the next guidance card. If you can see that, nurture. So once you get to that place where you're feeling like you're mastering your heart, you need to nurture it, and you need to nurture yourself. This lady here, she's pulling energy out of the sky and, you know, feeding it into the earth to grow all this beautiful greenery and flowers and stuff all around her. And that's what we kind of need to do for ourselves, is pull the love out of the air and feed it back into our hearts, our own hearts. It sounds selfish, but it's actually not, because when you become a magnet for, you know, unconditional love and abundance and all of that stuff, everything comes to you when you become a magnet. When you vibrate that kind of energy, then you become a magnet for it. That's what I'm trying to say. I think I need to go have something to eat. Okay, so, oh my god, you guys, the outcome card is fantastic. And I hope that I'm giving you some really good ideas on how to get where you want to go, because this is the outcome card. The outcome card is marriage, okay? So this is the marriage card. It's the love card. It's union for some of you. It's union with yourself for others. It's a relationship card. It means that this offer of love, even though it might start off seeming like it's just troublemaking bullshit and it's not going to happen, really, this is where you could end up if you are, you know, following your own heart and following your own guidance and tapping into all this energy that's around at the moment to move forward. Okay, that's probably enough. Yeah, Luminescent Heart-Centered Healing on Facebook. Yeah, I definitely need to have something to eat. Luminescent Heart-Centered Healing on Facebook if you want a private reading, if you want to follow me as well, or, you know, if you like this video and you like what I'm saying, you can give me big thumbs up. You could subscribe to my channel and see the next time I do a video. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave some links below in case you want to book a personal reading with me, or a mentoring session, or what else do I do? Oh yeah, energy healing. Whoops. Yeah, or a healing as well. I kind of do all three in my sessions anyway, so yeah. There we go. I'll leave a link below anyway. Cool. I'll catch you next time, I guess.